Just now that we're live.
Look at this.
Pour your beers if you need to pour your beers. Now that we're live. Oh man.
Look at
There's
this.
a window open somewhere. Pour your beers if you need to pour your beers. Oh no. I can hear myself.
I just heard the echo.
What is happening?
I think that was me.
Is that you? That's
because I'm trying to share it.
Oh. How dare you? No, it's fine. It's totally fine.
I know. Sorry. I won't share.
So people can hear us. I can hear us being heard.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I muted it. I stopped it.
No. I mean, I did it.
Oh.
Both. We're both guilty.
Okay, good.
I know. You don't want to be alone in your guilt.
I don't. Never.
Let's get this little show intro going.
I'm Hill Gamer, and this is the Breakdown. What? Hey, everybody!
Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. What? It's time for the Breakdown. I'm your host, Catherine, aka the High Heel Gamer. Thank you. Grab your seats. Today we're actually here, and we're gonna break down Mythica. We've got the phase. It just drives me nuts. We have the creator and illustrator of Mythica, Matt Campbell. Hi, Matt.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So, for those that don't know, give us a little introduction as to who you are. Who is Matt Campbell?
That's a deep question. My name is Matt Campbell. I am the creator of a comic book series called Mythica, the owner and CEO of Action Line Studios, a publishing company here in Colorado. I am a teacher at Bixby Community College. I teach comic book art and concept art. I have a degree in animation. And I've been working in comics for like the last decade, doing independent projects or covers or books of my own. And that's pretty much me.
I see that lovely collection you have back there. Is there like a specific, do you get like all comics? Or are you just like, no, I only get Marvel, I only get Batman?
Oh, no. I get, all kinds of stuff because I'm inspired by story and I'm inspired by art. Sometimes they go together. So anybody that's got a good story or got good art, I'm taking a look at it. The thing that I'm really bad at is, as an artist and a storyteller, I want to look at these comics. So I have them within hand's reach. I open them up. I don't care if it's, worth $100. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
So
no slabs.
Yeah. I don't think I own a single slab.
Although we've got the slab for you.
I'm actually in the process of getting certified so that I can sign my own books and send them in to get slabbed. Because if you're a creator, there's a form you can fill out, I guess, that allows you to do that so that I don't have to have a witness every time I sign something.
And that's exciting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to get start getting a couple of my books slabbed and graded and see what they come out at. A lot of the other books from my printer are coming out at like 9.9s and 10s. So I think that'll be something nice to add to the next Kickstarter.
Yeah, that does sound cool. Whoops, sorry, something broke.
That should be on a shirt.
Right? And it's always something breaking around here. So tell us a little bit about your studio, your publishing company.
Well, originally I just started it. Well, I should back up. Originally, it was started with me and my buddy Ron Root. Uh, we just sort of started getting together and drawing, and then we ended up working on a project together. And while we were working on it, I had already had the idea of maybe starting my own publishing company, because I already had Mythica. At the time, I was actually publishing it through another small independent company called CCP Comics down in Texas. So when Ron and I got together, we started working on this book, and I was like, we should make our own company. And so Ron was a co-founder, but since then, Ron's moved on to bigger and greater things. But now Action Line Studios publishes Mythica. We're on our 7th issue. And one of the things I'm looking to do now as a publisher is help lift up some of the other creators that are just getting started by providing them with, a fan base that's already existent. I've seen a lot of creators that have come in and have a great product, have a great story, but they haven't spent the time building up a following. And so then they go to make a Kickstarter and it's crickets and they can't get it going. So my hope is that the next evolution is I can start to take some of these guys' great stories and funnel it through Action Line Studios, since we're doing well on Kickstarter and we've been going for many years now.
So so you're basically just the one-stop shop for newcomers to get their foot in the door. Do you also provide, like, you tell them how it goes, or you just take over? You're just like, hand me your baby and I will.
Well, it's really dependent on a case by case. Like, still trying to segue into that. Right now, it's mostly just Mythica books and books that I've created. But like, I've tried one before that came in, and they still needed artwork done. And so I learned really quick that doing the artwork for somebody else's book and doing the publishing and doing my own book was too much. So I said, I backed off, and I was like, I finished up, a stopping point with the art, and I said, all right, you need to find other artists, colorists, letterers to finish this up. But then once it's ready to go, I'm happy to funnel it through Action Line. And I'm happy to help you any way I can, like, editing and do covers, but I don't have the time to draw your book and my book at the same time. So that's where, I learned that lesson, the hard way. But being able to publish it, help them set up the Kickstarter and all that stuff is not difficult. But building a fan base and having, an email list and that kind of stuff takes a long time to build up. So hoping I can help get some of these guys going, that way. And then they can kind of take off and do their own thing. I'm not really concerned with like making a bunch of money off of them. They would own their own stuff. I just want to like help it get seen and get them out there,
That's cool. That's definitely cool. A lot of people don't know a lot of people don't know where to turn, what to do. So having an ally like that definitely helps 100%. So you said Mythica is actually in book 7 right now. Tell us a little bit about Mythica.
So Mythica started off in my desire to see more comic characters in comics and kills. So when I was in college and art school, there's one right there. Actually, there's a gratuitous shot of one right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that when I was like, well, okay, I see you now. Yes.
So yeah, I started off doing sketches of Magnus. I wanted to have this superhero in a kilt, and then I also really enjoyed kind of the concept art side of things, coming up with new creatures and wanting to have a platform that gave me that ability to do that. So I decided I wanted to have them, hunting demons, and I was really inspired by Supernatural. I was a big fan of the show, and I liked how they had like a big thematic problem they might be dealing with for a season or two, but then they also had these individual episodes, because something I wanted to do was start inviting on other writers to write, short stories, like an issue or two at a time,
Okay.
and either illustrate those myself or bring in another artist to illustrate that one. And that's something that we're actually starting to do. One of my students actually put a 6-page Mythica short story in the back of issue 7 that I had written. And so again, trying to give up-and-comers an opportunity to do some stuff and get their foot in the door and get noticed. So that was really exciting for him and for me. But that's where it kind of spun from. And then the story is about a bunch of characters who don't know each other, all kind of thrown into a situation because demons start appearing, start attacking them, and they survive and end up coming together. And they all have these different flaws. They have strengths as well, obviously, and abilities, but those flaws are what keep them from succeeding. And so they have to learn how to come together, work together in order to succeed at their goals. So like our main character, our kilted character, Magnus, for instance, in the first issue, he loses his entire squad. So yeah, that's Magnus and Ronnie there on the scene. And he loses his entire team because he was in the military, and they were all attacked by a demon. And so he feels, loss, he feels remorse, but he feels responsible. And so he doesn't want to put anyone else in harm's way. So he's constantly rushing in to try and be the one to take the loss or the pain, or if someone's going to die, it's going to be him, and so there could be 100 bad guys. He would still run in. And so that's his hurdle, is he's got to learn how to trust these new people that he doesn't know, take the helm of leadership with them and work with them. But he doesn't want to, he just wants to like get in there and fight till the death,
I had a Beowulf feel to it when I was reading the samples and the books that you sent over. Is there any Beowulf inspiration in it, or did I just reach too far?
I mean, I wouldn't say too far. Like the abilities of the characters and all stem from Celtic mythology. And Celtic mythology and Gaelic and Viking, they sort of all start to cross paths when you go back far enough.
Okay.
And so a lot of their stories tend to overlap and be very similar anyway. So that's probably part of the reason. There's no mention of Beowulf at this point, but I could easily see it going that way.
What made you choose this era instead of like the here and now? Why did you decide to go back?
That's a great question. So one of the inspirations I got from a show called Firefly, I'm sure everybody is aware of that one.
That doesn't sound familiar to us. No,
not at all. One of the things I liked about that show was how this group of characters were kind of becoming family, and they sat around the table and they were getting to know each other. But they also were on the run constantly. And so I wanted to put my characters into that position. And so I wanted to have all these different governments chasing after them because they have shown abilities. The governments have discovered there's people that are, extraordinary. So they're on the run from those people. And originally it was set to be in modern times, but with satellites and shit, I was like, it's going to make it really challenging to have me constantly trying to
Makes
find
sense.
new ways to keep them, under the radar, as it were. So we decided to look back in time a little bit. When I say we, I mean one of the first runners I worked with is William Tooker, and we went back to World War II, and it would work, but it seemed really overdone at the time with Captain America and just there were a lot of comics already kind of hitting that mark. So we went back farther, and when I started doing research on World War I really fell in love with it because there's this clash of time periods, and it's beautiful aesthetically because you have horse-drawn carriages and sailing ships colliding with combustion vehicles and steel battleships out on the water and tanks, and now biplanes flying. So all this stuff tends to look really cool and give this almost steampunk kind of vibe to it.
I was going to ask about
Without
that.
really trying, it's just like, in fact, that car that you're looking at right now on the screen is a 1914 Stutz Bearcat. It's a real car, but the windshield is just this piece of circular glass mounted to the steering wheel. So hence the passenger has to wear goggles, which is why you see goggles on her face.
Okay. You see, and I was gonna ask about the steampunk feel to it. Like I wanted to know if it was like, your little throw in, like, are you a steampunk kind of person and you just wanted to put your little twist into that era? Because I did notice the steampunk feel to it.
Yeah, like I said, I do like the steampunk, but it wasn't like I was like trying that. It just fits. It just happens to be fitting of that time period. So, but I definitely run with it where I can.
Yeah, no, and it works too. Like, it wasn't so much like it was overwhelming or underwhelming. It was just like, oh, that's a pretty cool design. Like, that looks really good. Like, that steampunk is cool, Sean.
I agree.
Yeah. So I actually liked the use of it, if whether on purpose or not.
Right.
I liked that it was, because it made it feel different, because there are times where we see old school stuff and then it's kind of the same stagnant looking kind of thing, but the use of color, the use of steampunk-ish material and stuff like that, I actually appreciated a lot. It was a good different feel to it. Like, even this picture right here, the one underneath, after they've all slammed together, it's just a nice coloration. It doesn't look muddied or anything like that. Walk us through this real quick, if you don't mind.
In what sense? Like
In the
what's going
sense
on, or
of what's going on, and then your decision to use the lighting that way with the car.
Oh, okay. So
if it doesn't give away spoilers.
No, I won't. This is from issue 7, the one that came out on the last Kickstarter. So it's still pretty fresh. But in this scene, they just their car just went careening off of the side of a very steep, ravine, and they smacked the ground. Yes, in that shot there. And so they smacked the ground, and when I'm working on these, the main premise here was just a transition of, okay, they were here on this action scene, and now I need to kind of find a way to transition them to the next scene, which is the castle. So there's this page here that's what I call a transition, and so then it's like, okay, well, how can I best make use of this? So it gave me the opportunity to insert this little gag on panel 3 there, and then showcase some of the abilities with the kicking the door off the frame. But then at the bottom, I sketched out the characters in just sort of a nice, almost 1-point perspective shot, so you could see them all. And I had the car in the background, but it wasn't until I colored it that I was like, hey, if I throw the light behind them, it's going to make them all have this high contrast silhouette. And so
And that's what like I wanted to get to, because a lot of times when you see things like this in comics, the lights are not on. So it's very dim and the colors kind of sometimes get lost in it. So that's why I wanted to know, because I like the fact that the lights are on, because it feels more vibrant, more realistic in a way, if that makes sense. I didn't know what you thought about that, like, your process behind it.
Right on. Yeah. I appreciate that. I like that a lot. Yeah, actually, I just, in teaching comics, one of the things I tell my students is that like each stage of the process should be another opportunity to add more to the story. So when I'm coloring, and up until issue 7, I was coloring, but I'm hiring a colorist for issue 8. We're gonna see how it goes. But
you're handing over the reins.
Each stage, I'm like, well, what can I do to take this farther? So with that one, that was one of those situations where adding the light, added to the mood, added to the drama of the scene, and I'm always looking for ways to do that. So when I hire people out, for my projects, I am looking for those kinds of things in their work. How did they add, from just the drawing to the coloring? How did they add their own extra bit of storytelling?
Yeah, because even in this panel too, with the light going,
what?
Who's saying something? Jesus, is that you? Sorry. In this panel, the light of the fire, I like that a lot too, because it feels warm. I don't know why I'm explaining it. A lot of our viewers are comic book readers. So that visual actually feels warm. You can't hear me? Hello?
Try refreshing your window.
Who can't hear me?
Okay.
Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I scared. I'm like, oh no, what did I do? I didn't touch anything, I swear.
He's coming back. 1 second.
Hey, sorry guys. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Technical difficulty day. It's my favorite part of the show.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know. Something happens sometimes. Kat, you're going to hate me for this, but you should do the same thing because I can see a glitch coming.
Oh, man.
Just refresh. It's funny because I can see on the back end usually if something's about to happen. And yeah, so give us 1 second. We'll bring Kat back in.
Okay.
Here she comes. It's because we try to do all this fancy stuff by showing images while people are talking. I think it just freaks out.
I don't think that should be a thing. Although I will say this, I've never seen or used this particular broadcasting software. I usually use StreamYard.
Well, we can't hear you, Kat.
Can't hear you now, Kat. Oh, man, what?
Kat.
I can read her lips, though.
Hello.
What?
There she is.
You guys hear me?
There she is.
Got it now.
Hated it. Anyway, sorry about that, Matt. First off, I want to say that Tom has chimed in real quick and he wanted to say hello. You guys go way back.
Yeah, like
that was sorority brothers. No, you guys are fraternity brothers. Sororities are girls. Got it.
No, I was in Colorado or in Denver going to school, animation school, and at that same time he was doing concept art at a couple of the local gaming companies, and so our paths crossed several times. And I think one of the things, one of the ways I met him early on was some of the drawing groups that formed here in Colorado. So yeah, there's been many different times that I've crossed paths with Tom, but unfortunately, it's been a long time because like he lives somewhere far away now. I don't know, not in Colorado.
Not Colorado, somewhere far, not Colorado. But anyway, I was saying that panel with the fireplace. I was saying that I like the use of light because it feels warm. And I was gonna go into more detail, but a lot of our viewers are comic book readers, so they understand what I mean by that. You can kind of feel the warmth of the fireplace. Did it take a long time to master like the lighting effects in art?
Well, I think that another thing that I talk about a lot with my students is that before you can learn, fancy coloring techniques and painting, like there's so many different approaches to coloring things. The primary things you have to learn are just color theory and what colors work together, what colors complement each other, and know that color sets mood. So if you want something to feel warm and cozy, then you're most likely going to use oranges and yellows and reds. But like if you want things to be violent, you're going to use bright intense reds, or if you want things to be like at the Matrix, when things felt his world was sickly and dead and uninteresting, they used these sort of pea green, ugly tones of green to make it feel sickly and lifeless. So, most people when they color, they'll tend to just say, okay, sky's blue, grass is green, and that's it. But it doesn't really, do a lot for the mood and the storytelling, and a lot of times it doesn't even have a cohesive, color scheme. So here I'm trying to make everything feel cold and wet,
and it does.
So I'm using those cool colors.
I like that the rain sets apart from the scenery. So I am not an art major. Let's just for those that are new, not an art major. I just appreciate it. I don't know why. That's the truth. I'm not. I just appreciate art is what it is. And a lot of times the rain kind of all looks the same, and it's all going the same direction, and it's all the same line. If for those of you that have read a Batman comic book and he's moping in the rain, it's all the same line, and it's all the same that same little streak going everywhere.
Right.
But I like that you used different lines, and the effects feel like each raindrop is its own individual rain streak. I definitely like that a lot.
Thank you for noticing these. The things that you're noticing are really making me excited because I put a lot of thought into a lot of these things, and most people don't notice them, or they don't ever say anything about them. So it's exciting when people notice them.
I'm the oddball out. I don't ask the questions of how, well, I mean, I do sometimes, depending on the person, like, how long have you been drawing? No, I want to know, like,
boxers or briefs.
Yeah, exactly. No, not boxers or briefs, but like in the rain picture, like they're not all going the same way, because rain doesn't always go the same way.
Right, it's blowing all over the place. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like that attention to detail because I've read shit comics. So when a good comic comes along, you tend to notice these things.
Thanks for saying my comic is a good comic.
Well, I mean, I don't have we've all been through it. I don't have a poker face. I can't lie. I don't know how to lie. But yeah, so a lot of those details like stand out to me, like the lighting effects, the difference in the clothing. And when I say the difference in the clothing, I mean, a lot of the times nobody would have thought to put, I'm blanking out on her name and I'm so sorry, but homegirl in the all purple.
Riley, yeah.
Riley, thank you. Sorry about that. That's my one big downfall. I'm terrible with names.
I am too, actually. So,
but nobody would have thought to put her in that purple. Most people would have put her like in black or a weird red maroon type of thing. So the fact that she was in purple, like definitely, stood out to me. One, I love the color purple, and two, not a lot of people tend to put this kind of purple on her. It's usually that Catwoman dark purple, where you used the lighter sets of purple and stuff like that. What made you go against what I feel is the green? Your work is phenomenal, by the way, is what it's supposed to say. It's cutting off, but it says your work from Sean.
Oh, I see it. It's scrolling up now. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Let's see. Well, honestly, one of the things that kind of was the deciding factor, there was a couple of things on why she's wearing purple. Number one was when I would do my concept sketches and I would kind of put the characters next to each other, I'm looking for colors that, kind of look nice together. But So the other one is there's this sort of underlying unintentional parallel between my characters and a certain cartoon group of uh, uh, mystery hunting teenagers. So I have a lead character that's blonde who wears blue, and I have a lead female character with red hair that wears purple, and I have this young, nerdy character who solves more
And
things
if
with her
you guys
brain.
aren't getting the hints, let me may I say jinkies?
Yeah. So that was another reason for it. Like, and the thing was, I didn't see that parallel at first when I was first designing these characters, and then like about halfway through, I don't know, issue 3, I saw it, and I've just sort of like kind of been pushing it more in that direction ever
So did
since
this
because I think it's
cartoon like
funny.
have a big influence in your life, or it was just like a subconscious? Well, obviously
think
it's a
it was-
subconscious thing, but did it have a big influence in your life?
I think I've definitely watched a lot of that show, and I mean, I watched a lot of G.I. Joe and a lot of other stuff too, but I definitely must have
Talk nerdy
seen a
in
lot.
this
And
house.
I'm also always been I had a huge Velma thing going on. Like I still do. It's my favorite character. So I guess all that kind of just formulated subconsciously into my characters. So
It tends to happen. It tends to happen. You're not the only one. There's a lot of people that are like, dude, I didn't even know this was happening, and here they are.
But it gives the story a nice undertone, and it also anchors it sometimes, because every once in a while, like when you're writing, especially new characters, you're trying to give each character an equal time, and you're trying to get their arcs to cross paths, and every once in a while you're just like, well, what do I do here? And then sometimes I'll like think to that cartoon and be like, well, what would that character have done? And sometimes it'll help me dig out of a hole. So
That's pretty cool.
Fun stuff.
So I'm gonna get a little inappropriate here, so forgive me, but I have to say it. There's a nudie scene.
Oh, okay.
And I really like the way the boobs were drawn. I know it's a weird thing probably mention.
Well, hey, no, I think that I take that as a compliment, and I think that most people that read comics can appreciate that.
Well, because they look real. They don't look like other comic book boobs. And I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. Like no shame in my game. I've seen a lot of comic book boobs, and these are very nice. There are some that are like, oh, okay, thank you for paying attention to the female breastises. Was that like an anatomy class, or did you Google a lot? I mean, like, I don't mean to, like I said, I'm getting because I need to know how you got these boobs so good.
Well, if you look at my pinup art, I've been known for a long time as the guy who draws the girls. And so I've always, from the beginning, been a fan of artists that draw women a little bit more realistic, like Frank Cho and Adam Hughes are some of my favorites. Frank Frazetta, if you know Frank Frazetta's work, I've always enjoyed drawing the females with more curves, more realism, and so that's been a goal of mine in designing my characters, is to make sure that they can still be heroic characters that still look fairly normal.
And let me just throw this out there, Matt. You're the second person that I've said that I like the way they draw the boobs. I can't remember who the first person was because it was so long ago, but I know I've only ever said it one other time.
Right on. Well, I definitely appreciate that. I take that as a big compliment. There's actually, I don't know if you can see that. There's actually the alternate cover right over there.
That's what made me think. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. The boobs were great. And I mean, like, I just like body in general. Again, it's not.
Well, the other thing about that scene is it's funny because you know, when you're making comics, some people tend to forget that, you know, even though you can put any kind of story in comics, you can put, you know, a romance or a horror or whatever, like comics move at a pace where you have to have exciting things happening, you know, in every issue. It's difficult to have an issue go with just mostly, you know, dialogue and exposition as a transition. Even so, when I was making issue 7, I was kind of starting a new arc, a new storyline, and so I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of antagonist yet. It's more like setting up a new location and introducing a new problem, like, you know, any other TV show might. So I opened it up with this big action car scene sequence, and then I thought, well, how can I, you know, make this issue more exciting? And I'm like, well, sex sells. Let's make what can I do with that? But the thing is, I as much as I, you know, am happy to have that in my book, I don't want that to be what the book is about.
Oh, no.
And market it that way. Like,
It is not.
here's my titty mag, you know.
No, I'm just giving compliments to the well drawn anatomy of it.
No,
but it is
I know
definitely
you
not.
are. I was just saying in general, like, so when I made this scene, I wanted to, you know, make it feel natural and not forced. And so that's why I went with them basically kind of bathing in this hot tub after walking out in the snow and just having a heart-to-heart conversation between these two characters with nothing really sexual going on other than the fact that they happen to be in a tub, you know?
Yeah.
And that felt like it fit the story, and it wasn't just like, you know, some forced thing in there.
Yeah, no, it didn't feel forced. Definitely not, which sometimes when you read comics and there's like a nude scene or a sex scene, it does feel forced. Like it doesn't feel like it should be there. You know, it feels kind of misplaced. But this definitely was, and I just wanted to say the thank you, I guess, for getting the boobs right. I mean, sometimes as a female reader, sometimes, you know, you see these same images.
Right.
So I just appreciated the fact that
gravity defying.
Exactly. So I just appreciated it, and I have to give credit where credit is due, you know?
Yeah. Yes. I'm looking at the comments about people like, what did I walk into here? We're talking about sex in comics. Yes. We're talking about breasts in comics and sex in comics
that are not, you know, realistic. I mean, Catwoman has been guilty of having unrealistic boobs.
Right.
So, you know, it's definitely anyhow.
Well, I'm glad it's appreciated, because it's one of those things that I put attention to detail into, and oddly enough, more people do tend to notice that one than notice the raindrops that you were talking about earlier. I get more comments on, you know, hey, these breasts look really nice.
Well, I notice everything because I'm a nitpicker. I'm a picky eater with my food. I'm a picky comic book reader as well.
All right.
So nerd alert, true story. But so issue 7 is out, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's out. So do we have any updates on issue 8, or is it?
Yeah, actually, so issue 8, remember how I was saying issue 7 is about kind of setting up a new location, new situation. And so now issue 8 is going to kind of start off, you know, a little bit like that. And then there's this point where, you know, all hell breaks loose. And Magnus, our main character, is going to be throwing down with like 6 vampires at once. And that fight scene is like 12 or 14 pages long.
Like
it's gonna be
I'm
epic.
wearing the proper shirt then, because it's like a Dragon Ball Z anime.
Yeah. I do have something I can share. I don't know if you guys are able to let me
We love
share.
exclusives. Give us an exclusive, Matt. Do it.
So hold on, let me get it situated.
I'm such a sucker for an exclusive.
So this is the first 2-page spread of the book, and I'm going for like big, sprawling vistas of something you might see in Lord of the Rings, because I really want people to feel this like kind of majestic, location change and feel attached to this. So let me find where the share button is at. Video settings. It's not under the cog wheel. How do I share on this program?
That's a good question. I've never had to share anything. Jack, producer man.
So the other. Oh wait. I think I just found.
Honestly, one of the best things you could do if you just want to send it to me on Facebook. It's hard.
I think I just figured it out.
Hold on. Actually,
I figured it out.
There you go, Matt. Problem solver.
I'm working on it.
Your screen is now presented.
3, 2.
There we go.
Nice.
So this is
Dang.
this sprawling vista. As you can see, I like to do details a lot. The thing I love about landscapes is environment pieces is it allows you to just really go crazy and put a lot of detail. So like, you guys remember the island that Luke Skywalker was on in the Star Wars movies, and they ended up making those little characters. Well, those are based on puffins, which actually are all over Scotland. So that's what you see back here on this rock. These little black marks. They're jumping off the cliff, and there's some more like over here. But here you have Magnus riding this giant Highland bull with his giant sheepdog. And this shot was all about proportion, because you can see if you compare the size of this dog's head to the size of Magnus's head, you can see how big this fucking dog is.
Yeah.
So that's something I wanted to kind of try and get right. So I took some sketching, and then.
Oh, I like the silhouette on that bridge.
Yeah. So then same thing here. I had to make sure and get like the size comparisons kind of right. But this shot right here with the lamb rams, as I call them, the ram lambs. I said that backwards for a second. This just feels like, a Scottish postcard or something, and that's kind of what I was going for.
Yes. Okay.
So then they're coming into town. So there's a lot of Easter eggs hidden in here too. I'll let you figure this one out on your own.
Guns N' Roses?
That is right. That was an easy one. I like burying this stuff in there, just having some fun with it. And then there's some others I put here and there throughout the book. But this is the first 2-page spread of the issue. And like I said, it's not long after this that everything kind of goes to shit and Magnus ends up throwing down.
That was dope.
All right, how do I go back to camera?
Matt, you have an amazing eye for realism from Sean.
There we go.
Definitely. I like that silhouette. Of
Sean
him
says,
over
"Have an
the-
amazing eye for realism." You guys still there?
Can you? Can you not hear me? Jack, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you?
The screen's
not
for
hear
me is blank.
Yeah, I can hear both of you.
Oh, is it
I
me
can't
then?
hear her. I'll refresh.
Maybe. Matt, can you hear Kat?
I can hear
he can't
you. I
hear
can't
me.
hear her. I'm gonna refresh.
Oh, you're gonna have to refresh your screen.
Jack, can I just say it? I hate this program.
Look.
Goodbye.
And Kat's refreshing.
All right. So again, I was saying I've never used this particular program. I've always used StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a difference in that sense, but
when we can hear you. Kat, give us 1 second. And you're coming in. There you are. Yeah, when we were checking out software, there was a few features that this allowed us to do live that StreamYard just didn't do yet. I don't know if they're doing it now. But just being able to like grab images, post them up, share screens, the ticker, just there's a variety of things that this could do that the other one didn't. But it is in beta. So like you
This
can
is.
see, yeah, it's technically always in beta as far as I can tell. And Kat can, yeah,
I can't
Kat
hear her.
can, yeah, Kat, fix your mic, girl. This is what Sean calls gremlins. I think, yeah, he's like, there's gremlins afoot whenever the technical stuff
Tell me
starts.
you guys can hear me now.
I can hear you now.
I was saying that I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for this. I voted for something better and I got outvoted.
Better. At the time, there wasn't better. Is StreamYard doing all this? Like, are they giving you all these features?
Well, I know that sharing, you know, I was doing a lot of my sharing, my screen sharing. I know I can, you know, share videos and stuff, but I don't know about the sound effects you're doing, if that's a thing that they do or not.
That's Jack.
Separate.
But other than that, everything you've done, I've done in StreamYard.
Oh, really?
I vote for StreamYard.
You hear that? Be live.
Word.
They actually have a very small community, so they probably are hearing this.
And they probably
are.
Yeah, like the little scroll at the bottom where you have the ticker tape. It does that. It has the names at the bottom. You can customize those to any color that you want. Mine's are usually red, obviously.
I know I'm at the bottom of the food chain, but can we move, please, Jack? Let us move. Anyway, look, that's his way of ignoring me. Is just
not ignoring you. I'm just not responding.
I'm gonna acknowledge Sean Washington there. He had a couple comments saying I have an eye for realism. Thank you, Sean.
Oh yes. Sean is a huge supporter of the show. He keeps it 100 all the time, which we appreciate.
3,000.
The thing I'm trying to do right now is find, you know, I'm kind of always trying to push the balance between realism and exaggeration, because exaggeration is really where comic books live. And when I first started making comics, in fact, I was a couple issues in, I had the opportunity to sit down with Greg Capullo, and that was his biggest criticism was you're not utilizing the comic book medium enough. You're making beautiful storyboards, you know, for films. So like, for instance, you know, like when you have a character that's falling down the side of a building, you know, you use this really long page length panel to help push that mood of the long fall, you know, and that's not something you can do in film as well. You have to turn the camera. So that's what I'm always trying to do, or exaggerate punches, you know, like instead of what you might see in an actual movie, you got to go more extreme and pull them back, you know. And that's where the balance is, because if all you do is learn how to draw from looking at other comics, then all of your artwork tends to look super extreme with 47,000 muscles, and there's not enough tether to realism. And so I kind of come from the other side, where I've drawn a lot of life drawings and studied, you know, landscapes, and now I'm trying to push more into that exaggerated kind of mode.
Well, everybody loves the artwork. Sean has raved about it. Zach just said love the art. I love the art, and you could tell from the stuff that I've said already.
Thank you.
Where can people get the books? Because I highly suggest it.
So there are, like I said, 7 issues. The first 6 issues have now been collected into a trade paperback called Darkness Rising.
Nice.
And that is available in digital, softback, or hardback on our website, actionlinestudios.com, or actionline-studios.com. They both go to the same place.
Okay, cool.
But then also you can get Mythica. If you look up Mythica Darkness Rising, you'll find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Nice.
I'm slowly getting it available in comic book shops. Most of the comic book shops in Colorado is what I'm shooting for now.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing the.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely want people to go out and get this. Do you have social media for your artwork?
Yeah, I have social media for my own artwork as well as for Action Line Studios.
Okay.
Right now, we're really trying to get everyone to check out our Facebook Action Line Studios page.
Okay.
So just look up Action Line Studios on Facebook. My Instagram is Matt Campbell Art, and I have a Facebook page at Matt Campbell Art as well. But I'm mostly putting my efforts into Action Line Studios right now. But those are the main places I'm at, or Instagram and Facebook.
Sharing in the comments, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. Unfortunately. Matt, it was definitely a pleasure having you on the show. We've got some quick announcements. Less than 24 hours, right, Jack? We've got less than 24 hours left on Kickstarter for Black Alpha.
Have a great
Nice. Well, that's
Yes,
right.
We're super excited for that. Here's a little teaser trailer if you want to hang out and watch this, Matt.
I do.
Go to Kickstarter, don't be a loser. Donate all you can because the rewards are epic. Like, do it now. Go to Kickstarter.
Nice video.
Commentary.
Because I really do love Black Alpha. Like I like to admit it, but I hate to admit it because Jack worked on it.
I didn't work on it. I'm just the CEO and editor chief.
No. In all honesty, I do 100% go to Black Alpha on Kickstarter. Less than 24 hours. You will not regret it. Trust me. I had the privilege of reviewing. Yeah, that's the word, previewing, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I got it right. I usually don't word right. The comic book, and I'm really, really excited. You guys saw the interview I did with Tom, who's an awesome human being. Definitely go. And then after you do that, go to actionstudios.com and get yourself Mythica.
She never gets the website right.
I never get anything right.
Action
What did I
Line
say?
Studios.
Action what?
Action Line Studios.
It's in the comments, people. I don't understand why you're not just like opening up a separate tab, going to Kickstarter, open up another tab, and go to the link in the comments. Like, why do I have to guide you? Like, you've been here a million times. We're about to hit 2,000 episodes. Why you don't know what's happening? Once I get to this point, open up.
She's like, it's 100. We're about to hit 100.
Oh, it's just 100. It feels like forever.
Drinking.
We work with Jack.
100, they're very similar.
It feels like forever. It feels like forever when you work with Jack. Just saying. But no, seriously, like, listen to me close out the show, open up a tab, one Kickstarter, open up a tab, link in the comments to Action Line Studios. Get your life together. Don't be a loser. That's all I have to say. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Matt. Definitely hope you guys, it's only one of you. I definitely hope you come back. And as always, guys, go to our website. I don't even know what our website is anymore. It's like comicbooksshow.com.
Issueswithshow.com.
Oh, WTF Comic Books. Our website is WTFcomicbooks.com, issueswithshow.com. Go to my Instagram and stuff. The podcast is coming out on Friday. That's gonna be something. And as always, I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye, everyone. Jack, take us home. It was great. I loved every second of this.
Nice.
Go to Kickstarter. Don't be a loser. Go to Action Line Comics. Action Line Studios. Don't be a loser.
Seriously?
Go read Mythica. Don't be a loser. Get Black Alpha. Don't be a loser.